Vegas does not think Indiana will beat Oregon this year at Autzen Stadium, but how would it happen if Vegas is wrong? We debate that and more today on a Locked On College crossover.
You are Locked On College Crossover, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yes, it is that time once again for a crossover edition of Locked On Ducks. I'm Spencer McLaughlin and Jacob Goins of Locked On Hoosiers. Thank you all so much for making this your first listen or your first view of the day. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Plenty coming on today's show, which is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Go check them out because right now new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. So I have a piece of information that Jacob does not. And I tell you what, it's going to be revealed in a couple of minutes. I'm just going to tease you all a little bit longer because I want to start here, Jacob. Oregon is going to be favored in this October 11th matchup against Indiana.
You don't know that?
I know that. So we know that's going to be the case. If they were to pull the upset, and I'll give you a historical olive branch later on once we get to the actual line. If they were to do it, what do you think that game looks like? What does Indiana do to Oregon to give them what would be just their second ever loss, presuming they haven't lost a home game before this coming into the matchup? It would be just their second ever loss at Autzen Stadium. What would Indiana need to do?
I think it has to be on the defensive side of the football for Indiana because as great as the offense will be with Fernando Mendoza and the receivers and the running back by committee room and what I think is an improved offensive line, I think it has to be the defensive side of the football for the Hoosiers. You bring back Mikail Kamara, who is an All-American on the defensive line. You bring back Aiden Fiser, the All-American linebacker on that side. Plus, you've got a really solid secondary as well. And I know the concern for the Ducks is the offensive line, at least right now. That point in the season, maybe they have it figured out, or maybe they don't. But on the road, defensive slugfest, maybe force a couple of turnovers. That's how Indiana can keep themselves in a game like this because remember, Indiana has to play at Oregon and at Penn State. Those are two of the toughest places to play in the Big Ten and in college football. And how do you win? You limit turnovers, you force turnovers, and you get after it on defense. That's where it would have to be for the Hoosiers. And you're going to have to put up some points to beat Oregon. There's no doubt about it. But I think if the defense can make it a long, hopefully night, maybe it's an early game, we don't know yet. If they can make it a long day for Dante Moore and that Oregon offense, that is the way for the Hoosiers to get it done.
Okay, a couple of things. I was going to interject, but I wanted to let you get your thought out there.
Oregon, proud of you.
Oregon.
Growth,
thank you. That is growth. A little. Oregon fans, don't jump on Jacob. I'm going to just kindly correct him here. Describing the offensive line as a weakness for Oregon is not exactly where my head is at, with a Remington Award candidate at center, a potential first or second round pick at left tackle in Isaiah World, a veteran at left guard, the right side of the offensive line, more questions. More questions than doubts, I would say. Second thing, the Indiana offensive line better be improved because the Oregon defensive line...
It will be.
Yes, it better be improved because the Oregon defensive line is going to be, I think, the best individual unit for this Oregon team this fall. But now the moment that I set you all up for. Jacob, we have a line, according to our friends at FanDuel, for Oregon.
I have not seen this. I didn't look before the show, I promise.
Nope. I looked, and then I decided not to tell him so that you could get his live reaction here. That's how we keep things live and exciting when podcasts can be, of course, recorded at any time. So Oregon is favored. By how many points do you think Oregon should be favored?
Well, I'm going off of the crossover that I've done with our friend Zach Seiko of Locked On Nittany Lions, where we talked about the betting line for Indiana against Penn State on the road, and that was 17.5. So I'm going to go off of that. But since you've held it and since you're kind of being a little sneaky about it, I'm saying it's going to be 20.5 that Oregon is favored in this game as of right now. That's my guess. Based off of context clues, I'm saying Oregon 20.5. I don't agree with it, but I think that's what it'll be.
It's not quite that high. It is 14.5.
Okay.
Over. I got to tell you, when I saw that before we hopped on to record, I was surprised. I was not that I didn't think Oregon would be favored or that it'd be well over a touchdown. I don't know that I saw a 2-touchdown favorite status coming in here for the Ducks. Them being at home is probably the biggest factor because last year the national champions came into Autzen Stadium and lost. And then when that game was played on a neutral field, I'm done talking about that game now. So I get that angle of it. Was Indiana this bad of a road team last year, though? I didn't really get that sense. I mean, they went to Ohio State and it was respectable. They won every other road game. They didn't have a ton of tough ones, of course, but does that line?
I mean, Notre Dame in the playoff, but again, both of those games, Ohio State got nasty down the stretch, but Indiana was in the Notre Dame game the entire time. People act like Indiana got blown out, and that's just not the case. On the opening game, Friday night in the cold at Notre Dame, the Hoosiers hung around that game with a much better team in Notre Dame. The Hoosiers have been fine on the road, but like you said, last year wasn't all that tough. I mean, we were excited to go on the road and beat UCLA in the Rose Bowl in week 3 last year. That's not really that's not really comparable here with Oregon and Penn State and Iowa that's on the schedule this year. So yeah, I like the 14.5. I think for now in July, that is a respectable number because we just don't know by the middle of the season where these two teams are going to be. And I know we're going to talk about kind of what this game means and where it falls in the schedule. But for now, sure, that's fine. And let's see how that adjusts closer to kickoff.
Yeah, the olive branch I will extend to the Indiana faithful out there is Oregon went to Ohio State in 2021 with a head coach who, amongst the 3 people currently mentioned, as in Kurt Cignetti of Indiana, Dan Lanning Oregon, and Mario Cristobal, Mario's third. Okay, Mario is third. Not that he's as bad as some Oregon fans think. I don't think that he is, but Mario is third. He went to Columbus without Kayvon Thibodeau, without Justin Flo, who, when healthy, had 14 tackles and 2 forced fumbles the week prior against Fresno State, and with Anthony Brown at quarterback as around a 2-touchdown underdog, they went in and won. Now, I was surprised at what you said about Indiana wins this game if it's defensively driven, if they can keep it low score. I actually went in the other direction because one of the biggest valid criticisms you can make of Dan Lanning and his staff over the last several years, in big games, their defense has not delivered. Time and again, the offense has shown up and the defense has not delivered. They allowed over 30 points in every game they played against a college football playoff opponent last year. The season before, 2 losses to Washington in heartbreaking fashion to Michael Penix and company. That was on the defense, not on the offense. It was a little more on the offense in the Pac-12 championship game. But you can't score over 30 points against a top 10 team and then look up and go, man, the offense is the reason we lost. Like, nah, defense has got to be better. So when I thought of how Indiana could pull this upset, because it's at Autzen, I wouldn't envision a Wisconsin game of last year for the Ducks, 16-13. They almost lost. They were a 10.5-point road favorite in that one. I'd envision Indiana's passing offense clicking, fire out the ball all over the field, and win the game 35-31. If they were to pull the upset, not saying I'm predicting that.
Yeah, I mean, that would be awesome. I would love for the offense to be the reason Indiana wins a game like this in Autzen, in Eugene, in Oregon, right? I mean, that would be awesome for the Hoosiers to go out, drop 35, 40 points. And at that point, you're probably undefeated or have just the one loss and everything is in front of you. It's just hard to ask this team or any team to go on the road in the conference and this far of a trip. It's further for some, but from Bloomington to Eugene's a pretty good hike. And go out there and say, hey, light the world on fire and outscore them rather than, hey, defense, we need you to get a few stops. Let's make some plays. Let's keep the ball in our possession, and let's try to win an ugly one and get the heck out of Eugene.
Yeah. What this game means for both teams, very different things, but important nonetheless.
Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Game Time. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with your friends or family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize that you want to be in the stands. Well, that's exactly where Game Time comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last minute tickets without all the stress. And with the money that you save on tickets, you can splurge on food or drinks or merchandise, or even invite more people to come and be a part of the action with you. Game Time makes all of that possible. Game Time makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop closer you get to first pitch, and they've got incredible last minute deals, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. I use Game Time on every single event possible. Sports, music, comedy, theater. I've used it dozens of times. Never had an issue. They are the place to go. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKED. ONCOLLEGE. That's Locked On College for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Goins, I want to start with you on what this Indiana-Oregon game means. First of all, at this point in the season, October 11th, you got a hefty number of games under the belt. Do you expect Indiana to be ranked?
Ranked? Yes, I do. I expect us to be ranked. I thought you were going, do you expect us to be undefeated? And that's a tough question because, our non-conference schedule is ranked number 1 in the country. It's the hardest they've ever played in the history of college football. Hardest
Indiana State is a noted football power.
Hey, man, that's an in-state game. I don't know why you're hating on it. In-state
Kennesaw
rivalry.
State is also electrifying.
Don't hate on the Owls. What else you got to say? What about Old Dominion? You don't mess with the Monarchs now.
Ask Virginia Tech whether you should mess with Old Dominion.
That's all I'm saying, right? So, yes, jokes aside, the non-conference schedule is bad. I am on record several times saying how much I hate it, but it is what it is. They scheduled this years in advance. So, Indiana, yes, they'll be 3-0. Then you play Illinois to open up Big Ten play. That is in Wilmington before you go and play on the road at Iowa. Then you take the trip to Oregon. So it very well, all possibilities are on the table here. 3-2, 4-1, 5-0. I don't know, but I do think the Hoosiers are ranked. We go into a bye week, and then we head to Eugene. And if I remember correctly about that Oregon schedule, you also have a bye week before the Hoosiers come to town. You have a big game before it like we do, but we both get a bye week before the Hoosiers make the trip. And so, yes, we will be ranked in the top 25 when we come to Eugene.
Yeah, off a playoff season, they should be in the top 25. They'll go 3-0. They won't get punished for that. Between Illinois and Iowa, I think they probably go 1-1. Yeah. And quite frankly, I think they're more likely to beat Iowa than Illinois. I'm bullish on Illinois. Some people have pointed out that Illinois was really good last year. And by the way, they lost to Oregon 38-9 at Autzen Stadium. Just throwing it out there.
Way to go for Illinois is backwards, my friend.
Yeah, not quite. They could go to the playoff. You never know. Yeah, just throw it out there. The interesting thing, though, about what you mentioned with Oregon's schedule is this will be the first game played since the Penn State game, which I also see our friends at FanDuel have given us a line for, and that is Penn State minus 4.5. And when I tell you that I'm going to talk smack to Seiko over the fact that line is not as big as he thought it was, just know he might not show up to the squad show we have to tape later tonight because I might just bully you. I might just nonstop and he send him texts and he might be like, you know what? I can't be around the Spencer guy anymore. I need a break. Everyone needs
a lot of people say that.
Yeah, a lot of people say that. And you had a few thousand listen every day somehow and realize that they decide they don't need a break. So anyway, for Oregon, I do think that 4.5. That game's going to be so much fun at Penn State. But I do think that Oregon loses that game. I haven't changed my feeling on it yet. I would need to see Oregon just absolutely terrorize their first 4 opponents before I'd say, okay, I changed my mind. They're going to beat Penn State on the road.
Yeah.
There are just so many things working against Oregon. in that game. But I think that magnifies to me the importance of this Indiana game for the Ducks, because you never want to drop 2 in a row. I mean, you lose a second game, your Big Ten title hopes, you're not doing that, because you're gonna lose a tiebreaker with Penn State and Indiana. I don't expect the Hoosiers necessarily to make the Big Ten championship game, but hey, crazier things have happened before. They were darn close to making it last year, and nobody really saw that coming. So I think that for Oregon, the importance to kind of have a bounce back, especially being at home if they do lose that game to Penn State, is important for their playoff hopes. Because if you lose 2 games in a row, you're not just on thin ice or have broken all the way through down into the freezing cold water for the Big Ten championship game, but you're on thin ice for the playoff. Like, Oregon has a quality enough schedule in being in the Big Ten, and this is, of course, why they wanted to leave the Pac-12 and join the Big Ten, because if you go 10-2, yeah, you do get into the playoff, I think, automatically in the Big Ten or SEC. But do I want to see Oregon be 4-2, ranked 24th in the country, and have to win 6 straight to go out? To go out and make the playoff, ending with a game at Washington? Like, no, not really. So I think that could provide even more excitement and juice for this matchup.
And Indiana, not to the same level as Oregon, because the Ducks are still, they're still looking to be a national title contender. The Hoosiers would be happy with, or even over the moon with, a similar performance this year that we had a year ago. Even if that means an extra loss, but you still get to the playoff, that would be fine. Now, that brings up a whole nother conversation of whether the Hoosiers would get in with 2 losses and things like that. But just talking about this game and where it falls on the schedule for the Hoosiers, I mentioned your 3 non-con games right out of the gate. They're terrible. You're 3-0 there. I'm with you. I think realistically, splitting Illinois and Iowa on the road is a legitimate thing. I mean, it's a legitimate statement. I think Indiana's better than both of those teams, but those are tough games back to back. You go into a bye, then on the road to Oregon. After that, UCLA at home, on the road at Maryland, on the road at Penn State, home for Wisconsin, and then on the road at Purdue on Black Friday. Take out the Penn State game, and Indiana should win every one of those. I think Indiana's better than all of those teams. And with this game against Oregon coming off the bye and Penn State being down the stretch, I think there's a better chance. And I've said this on my show on Locked On Hoosiers. I think there's a better chance that Penn State, or that Indiana, beats Oregon rather than beating Penn State. If I had to choose which one is the bigger upset potential, it's Indiana taking down Oregon coming off a bye versus Penn State down the stretch. And I think it could happen. I really, really do. It's a stretch. It's hard. Indiana's a 2-touchdown underdog, but you win this game. You survive the first couple, win this game, build some momentum down the stretch, and anything is possible for the Hoosiers.
You know something that just popped into my head?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you should be saying uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
The last time a big, unexpected national story with an iconic head coach came into Autzen Stadium as a double-digit underdog, Oregon beat Colorado 45-6.
We're better than Colorado. Stop. We're better coached. We're more talented. We're just better.
You think you're better than a Colorado team that wound up going 4-8? I don't know, man. They retired Shador's number.
Stop.
It had to have been
so bad. Don't worry, though. Hey, Deion's back this year, baby. He's healthy. He's ready to go. Don't worry. I mean, come on. Come on, Spencer. You're better than that. You're better than that.
I just wanted to get under the skin a little. I just wanted to throw little jabs. People on YouTube can see how much of a non-fighter I am. I don't know what proper punching form is.
Yeah,
I don't know. It all looks weird when you're on a tiny screen and you got to put your arms up here.
It's true. Hey, for the audio listeners, you looked great. You nailed it.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate
Muhammad Ali right there.
Appreciate that. We're gonna wrap with playoff expansion talk and how that ties into both of our programs. So stick around, won't you?
Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you can also start building a little bit of wealth. If there's something you're trying to buy, there's something you're trying to save up for, and you just feel like you can't ever keep track of it and you can't make any progress on that, use Monarch Money to help you do that. They'll show you where you're spending too much, where you can save a few dollars, and it'll let you track it from start to finish. That is what's great about Monarch Money. So now you can take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year.
College football is so wild and so crazy, Jacob, that right now there is no agreed upon playoff structure or television contract for that playoff structure.
Yeah.
For next year,
That's not good. That's not good.
We have no idea what it's all going to look like, or we don't know anything. There have been debates and discussion. I talk about it every week over on Locked On College Football, and I'll keep getting to talk about it because it just doesn't look like we're near a resolution here. So I wanted to get your thoughts on where you would like the playoff to go. Now, I personally, every single playoff expansion benefits Oregon. That's always been the case. And it benefits Indiana to a degree as well. It makes life easier for Oregon to have a 12-team playoff or potentially a 16-team college football playoff. I would still like for this, as a college football fan, I would like for this nonsense to stop.
Me too.
I would like for them to knock it off. And the Big Ten and SEC have been back and forth on how many teams should we get in and all this. And it looked like 16 was inevitable, and now it feels more likely that they could stay at 12 teams. What would your take on that situation be?
I am a non-expansionist. I think that is a term that has been claimed and proven and has now been put into existence. I don't know if Sir Webster has put it in the dictionary, but I am not an expansionist, okay? I don't like it. I don't think it's good, and I think this across the board. I think this for college football. I think this for college basketball. Those talks have been going on about expanding the NCAA tournament. I think about this with NCAA baseball or softball or conference tournaments across all sports. Letting more teams in waters down the championship. And this is not the right, proper way to crown a true national champion. Look at college basketball, man. 68, 72, 76. Like, do we really think that amount of teams deserve a shot at a national title? And then you look at college football where, yes, there's a little bit more parity. There's a little bit more separation, but do we really think that 20 or 24 teams really deserve a shot at a national title? I don't.
No.
I don't think that at all. And look, I think it needed to be more than two, and we griped about the BCS for so long. And Spencer, I think it turns out that nobody disliked the BCS system. We just wanted more teams involved, but we didn't know that at the time. That's the issue. We didn't know that at the time. We just wanted a few more teams in the same type of system. 12 is fine. I don't love it, but it's fine. I would love for it to go backwards, 6, 8, whatever. 4 seemed like, I don't know, 4 seemed a little harsh, but a little bit in between somewhere. Don't go more than 12. My God, please don't. And that benefits Indiana, like you said. The Hoosiers, I mean, if you're a top 25 team at that point, you make it to the college football playoff. Cool. That seems to be the standard now with Kurt Signetti in Indiana, so it would benefit us, and I'm still saying don't expand the playoff.
Yeah, the more you expand the playoff, frankly, the more benefits I can think of as we discuss this for Oregon fans. Football games will be less stressful.
Which sucks. That takes away
I agree. I agree. But for the fans out there that, you know, stress about every game and worry about, and I am one of those people, it would become less stressful. Yeah, but if there's no stress, there's no juice.
Yeah,
You
you're
know,
right about that.
I've been watching the NFL my whole life, and yeah, I want my Seahawks to win every week. But when they lose, it's all right, on to the next one, and let's not stack 3 of these in a row,
Yeah.
because we got a problem. But in college football, a loss is everything. Every Saturday is everything. What it used to be in the BCS is you basically had a 12-week playoff.
Yeah, pretty
You had
much.
a 12 to 13-week playoff where, hey, if you lose, you're on thin ice. It was a 12 to 13-week double elimination playoff.
But there should be something in between that, I think. It shouldn't be that
Yeah,
way. You should have
that's
a
fine.
little bit of grace, right? I mean, saying you have to go perfect to be a champion, I don't think is necessarily accurate or attainable year over year. But you can't, like you said, yeah. I mean, the NFL example is a perfect, or the NFL model is a perfect example because, yeah, if your team loses on Sunday, all right, it's week 5, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like you said, don't let it become a trend. But you don't want it to be that, and you don't want it to be, God, we have to be perfect and everything has to go just right. Like you want it to be I at least want it to be somewhere in between.
Yeah, I think the in between can be right. I'm with you on 6 teams. I think 6 would have been great. I think that 8 is fine. 12 is so many, man.
Problem is we're not going backwards.
It's only gonna go forwards. And
Yep.
I'll ask this to you as an Indiana guy. If they go to a 16-team playoff, I don't know what circumstances would arise, barring Dan Lanning leaving and Oregon I don't know what job he'd leave for because he's already turned down 3 high-profile SEC ones to stay with the Ducks. But if he were to leave for some reason one day or decide, I don't want to coach, I want to spend more time with my kids or anything like that, and then Oregon goes and makes the wrong hire, as long as that doesn't happen in a 16-team playoff, I don't know in a 10-year span if Oregon misses the playoff more than twice, and I don't know that it gets that high.
Yeah.
If they can just show up and go 9-3 every year and most likely get in, I mean.
But that's boring. That's so.
Oh no, I agree. But so if it goes to 16, for you as an Indiana guy in a 5-year, let's just stick with a 10-year snapshot of a 16-team playoff. Let's say Kurt Cignetti is there the entire time. How many times should Indiana make the playoff?
In a 16-team playoff in the next decade, is that what we're saying?
Yes.
I mean, half the time?
Yeah.
5?
That's probably about where I would put Indiana's expectations at.
That's pretty dang good. That's pretty
Yeah.
dang good. I mean, let's just be real. We just came off our first ever postseason appearance, right, in terms of a college football playoff or anything like that. It's the most magical, historical season the Hoosiers have ever had in the history of their football program. And before last year, they had the most losses in FBS football. So, yes, I would say half the time in a 16-team playoff, as long as the program continues to go up, Kurt Cignetti keeps doing his thing, recruiting continues to get better and better. Yeah, I'd say half the time. Make the college football playoff in a 16-team model for the Hoosiers.
I believe last year, if you'd had a 16-team model, all 3 9-3 SEC teams would have been in: Bama, Ole Miss, and South Carolina, which is repulsive down to my core. And then Illinois probably would have had a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. BYU and Miami would have been considered because they were 10-win teams in the Big 12. So you'd still have those debates on the margins. But did any of us watch those teams play last season and think, yeah, they deserve a chance to be in the national championship picture? No.
That argument's always going to be there. It's the next one out. It's the next one out, first one out, always should.
Well, and that's what annoys me with the conversation. You hear people say, look at these teams that didn't get in. We have a 68 team. I know there are more college basketball programs. We have a 68 team field. They expanded it 10 years ago. The play-in games are fun. Okay, fine. You still have the same debate every year because until you get to 100% inclusion, someone's getting left out. Someone has to get left out.
Yeah.
And
Indiana
so
was that team last year. We were the second team out last year. And I'm still saying don't expand the NCAA tournament.
Right. Because what you know is, no, Indiana doesn't deserve to just be given a chance to get in the NCAA tournament. Go out there and earn it. Now you've hired Darren DeVries, and hopefully for Indiana's sake, yeah. College basketball aficionado over here. Get ready for Locked On College Football to morph into Locked On Spencer's Sports Thoughts.
Yeah, just hit up Isaac and Andy. They'll let you on Locked On College Basketball whenever you want.
I've been on with those guys before. They're awesome. They do an awesome job. We'll call that an awesome show and wrap it there. Jacob Goins, Locked On Hoosiers. I'm Spencer McLaughlin, Locked On Ducks. This has been a Locked On College crossover. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. And until then, hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.